Mr. James Scarlett. We go again.
Afternoon, Gav. You okay, mate?
No, no, I'm not okay. I'm very angry. I'm very agitated. I don't know why in earth I am doing a fucking album of the years list. I spent so many hours in this, so many hours, and it's just been heartache and torture up to the point of literally coming on here. I've still been fucking like bands dropping out, bands dropping out. Because here's the thing, right? For most of my adult life, I've had a girlfriend and then I've had a wife, so I'm not the kind of guy who does album of the year lists. So I have this is all new. I mean, I've thrown a couple together last minute for Graham's thing on the Damnation Forum. I am not a guy who makes lists of bands and puts them in order and then goes back to so when I've gone as an assignment to actually go and fucking do it, I've went and done it. I've got I don't know, a book worth of notes that I've compiled over the last couple of weeks. I went backwards and forwards. I feel like the last time I've done this amount of studying, and it was studying, was when I was trying to get 100 words a minute shorthand, and that was it. And that was as painful as this fucking list has been.
Mate, this is way better than having a girlfriend or a wife. I feel like my entire life has really been building to this particular moment where I get to do my top 10 and people have to listen to it. It's like if you're a podcast fan, you've got to listen to this. And whereas normally I'm like, I've been doing my list for years and years and years, but who really gives a shit about anyone's list? Turns out I finally
You
have
have a
arrived.
platform,
Yeah.
and you dug it the Iron Maiden Christmas jumper for it.
Yes, mate. I got the Iron Maiden Christmas jumper out.
Okay, so before you completely ruin my buzz and we have to get into this, how's things been, pal?
They're good, they're really good, mate. I'm fucking revving up for Christmas now. It's what is it? Wednesday. I'm calling Christmas starting on Friday this week. So Friday is when the chocolate, the Scotch eggs, and the beers come out, and I have a lovely time. So yeah, I'm pretty excited about that. Work is starting to wind down for me. I We just did a thing though, didn't we? I think we should talk about that. Me and you just did an interview, our second ever Two Promoters One Pod interview with Metal Hammer, which I know you don't place as much excitement on such things as I do, but I'm well excited to see it to get my printed version of Metal Hammer with me and you in it. That's
No,
fucking great.
I'll look class. I'm sure I'll look class. And fair play to Metal Hammer for showing that interest and giving the tour and our festivals a plug. So yes, thank you. We did do that. That was a lot of fun. It did eat an hour into my study time for my top 10 list, which I didn't appreciate. But other than that, yeah, thank you to Rich and the team at Metal Hammer for having us. Aye, Christmas is upon us. It's all a wee bit chaotic. At the minute, I've always got the three kids, and then I've got. Do you host Christmas dinner or usually, but not this year?
No. So we go between the like either at my parents' or Lizzie's sisters, basically. So, and because our building work was an excuse last year and it's an excuse this year, so
Ah,
yeah,
lucky,
no
lucky,
hosting. Are
lucky
you
you
hosting?
guys. We host. We always host. We always host. We've got I don't, no, yeah, but this wanky sentence next ever. But we've got the biggest house, so we host, and we're getting the full works this time. We've got her parents coming up, my parents coming over, who are always there, and then my brother, sister-in-law, and my two nephews. So you put in our three kids. I think there's 13 in total. So. That in itself is a challenge. Kelly makes, oh my God, I don't know. My wife, she makes this Christmas gravy, Jamie Oliver's Christmas gravy. That in itself is a 45-hour process. You know what I mean? Because
Fuck.
you get all the chicken and everything, and then you break down all the bones, and then you fucking add the pork, and then you stew it up, and then the flour, and then you back in again. And I'm just like thinking to myself, we've got so much to do, so much to get done. We've so many presents still to buy. I've still to get Kelly's presents. So much to wrap. And then Christmas dinner to sort. I've got a top 10 to finish. And listen, it's fucking, and here we are. Here we are breaking chicken thigh bones to make sure the gravy. And my mum is like, oh, the most working class mum ever. It's just like, aye, it's fine. What's wrong with Bristol? No, I mean, you're just fucking, you just put 6 hours at work into Jamie Oliver's fucking Christmas gravy. And my mum's asking, how is it that much different from Bristol? It would have taken me 15 seconds for the kettle.
Mate, you owe your family just alone for the standing for 2 full days in the center of the damnation site with with three stages on at once,
I do.
selling merch for you.
They love it. They fucking love it. They're thankful for the invite. So, aye, that's it's been a lot. Shout out to our mutual good friends in Nordic Giants. I saw they had a post, was it maybe some point last week? They were asking for help basically with their tour support and to sell merch. So I went online and ordered myself. I looked at their merch and the t-shirt's printed in Earth Positive, which is my new fucking favourite. I've become a fanboy now. Stanley Stella's in my past. I'm a new fanboy for Earth Positive. And I said, I'm going to buy myself a t-shirt. And they obviously noticed the name and they say thanks. They sent me a hood as well, which is also an Earth
Oh,
Positive, which is the nicest fucking hood I've ever felt. I mean, the quality of every last part of it. I'm terrified now that I'm going to go in and try and price these up blanks for damnation hoods that are going to be prohibitively expensive. I'm assuming these guys have managed it because they don't have to think about the VAT charge on top of each hood as well. But if I can, is there any way I can make the damnation hoods air positive hoods for next year? I will be doing it before before we end up turning it a merch pod. Thank you to the guys in Nordic Giants for sending the hood. I fucking love it.
lovely stuff. I wanted to say about one thing. I was promoting with Miles a gig this week in Bristol and saw it from afar, Doubt Sleep and Paranoid Void, and it was a fucking lovely time. We had a little Christmas party afterwards with lots of Bristol friends, few drinks. All those bands were great. And so which from afar played set guitars to kill. What more could you want in
What
this
more can you
life?
need? What more can you
Um,
need?
and yeah, and I got to say hello to lots of people, and it was really nice. So yeah,
It's oh
good
good, good,
good way to
good
start
vibes.
Christmas.
Good,
Yeah,
and I tell you what, so much from afar. They played. I think it was St Luke's. Like my friend went. I just get too much shit on, and I never went. But it looked like a busy St Luke's as well. So I mean, selling well the tour. I know it's had
yeah.
a
The tour,
nice big bus outside as well. So must be doing okay.
yeah, the tour's selling well. I think they'd had some teething problems on night one, but we were night two, and they had a really good gig, and everyone was super happy. So yeah, it was a good end to the live music year for me. So yeah, happy
And tell
days.
me this: has your two promoters one sauce burnt peach arrived at your doorstep?
Mate, I ate it this morning. I had my boiled eggs with it.
That's,
And
I mean, we've never addressed this, right? Like, of all the things, I'm like, I had my enchiladas, the fajitas, I done it in a nice wrap. And you're always like, your boiled eggs.
mate,
I mean, a bit of scrambled, maybe. Boiled, an omelette, okay. Boiled eggs.
no, so well, my thing is I have boiled eggs for breakfast, basically. To Slice of sourdough toast, boiled eggs. That's it. Always with a bit of loose Bruce hot sauce, and you can have it works. That eggs and toast works with basically pretty much all of his sauces. I this is gonna sound like a sales pitch, but I really like the two promoters one pod sauce. It's really good. It's a level of heat which is just perfect for me. It's got a tiny kick to it, but it's not blowing your head off. Um, and yeah, it doesn't taste of peach, does it? I don't know what it tastes of, but it's nice.
I thought I got a wee bit of peach from it, but the same way, and like we had that last night, and I agree. I think it's absolutely beautiful, which isn't a massive surprise. When he asked it, it's like, well, what do you want for this as well? And if I said, well, my favourite's the Kirsty's Metal Hands and the mango. So let's try and keep it an orangey flavour so it suits with the branding. And if you get it that sort of flavour profile and heat level, that would be great. So when I tried the last night, I'm like, this is fucking beautiful. And I said to my son and my wife, look, don't eat this. Eat the other ones, right? He sent me, it was like an apple jalapeno one there and a habanero one there. Enjoy those ones. Leave this one to me. It is absolutely fucking incredible. So, I enjoyed that. You're right. The flavour, it's got a nice heat to it. It never had a kick because I tell you what, I don't know what happened with Lou in the last 6 months. Whoever's supplying these chilies has lost their fucking mind because every hot sauce has went up like he's been meter at the side. He has to add to whatever one because the damnation hot sauce previously batch one to batch two is not the same. I mean, it's eye-wateringly hot. The second batch, and you've had 6 months of using it. Like the way the first batch was, so you keep getting caught out. You go and pick up, you go, for fuck's sake, did I put anal vomit in that? Because my fucking
Well,
ass is burning.
funny you should say that because I actually opened anal vomit for the first time last night and had it on my like Thai curry just to try and give it a bit of a kick. But it is fucking lively, that, isn't it? Jesus, it's lively.
But
Do you think that Lou still listens to the podcast?
It's hard to tell.
Because
I think he's moved on. I think he's going for bigger things. He's after.
I'm worried he doesn't. But I just wanted to send him a quick message to just say, my boys gave your boys a hell of a beating this week, and I really enjoyed it, and I hope you're watching. I know. I seen him on the fucking damnation balcony during a band with the lot with his phone out watching Man City.
But that was
Um,
the James. That was kind of the start of absolute. That was like against Bournemouth or some other diddy team that plays in fucking England, and they lost that game. I think that was like, if not the first week of this mad spell they're going through of losing everything in sight, it was the second week. So I think he was on the balcony going, wow, we're getting beat like, I don't know, 2-0 or something on fucking Bournemouth, who I didn't even know were in the Premiership. And then at the side, I'm going to like, getting updates and we're beating Aberdeen 6-0 in the semi final to go on, obviously, and then beat Rangers in the fucking final and lift that trophy too. So, yes, Lou, happy Christmas. Hope the football's going well for you.
but thanks for doing the source, mate. Appreciate it. And if nothing else, we got to hear Gav try to pronounce Bournemouth. Um, Good.
Finish
Cracking
it,
up.
finish it. I suppose that was an ad read for him then. It wasn't supposed to be, just just kind of launched into it. Pod 15, losebrews.co.uk. That is the code to get 15% off. I assume he's done and packed up for the year. He tends to spend a lot of time abroad at the side of pools with his bottles of hot sauce. So I don't even know if he's in the country. If you are, Lou, hope you're having a good one. And I'm completely indifferent towards Man City, but they've got Big James with his almost Man City like jumper on. Eh, you're like, whoa, that's actually pretty close. I don't know. I don't know if I'd have myself a fucking Rangers colour jumper. So well done for you, James, being the bigger man.
Mate, Iron Maiden, fucking, I'll do it for the Maiden. It's okay.
So we're doing it. We're doing this. Introduce it. This is all you, mate. There is
We're doing it.
the biggest influence you've ever had in this podcast is this episode. There is no way in any world that I would have had an albums of the year if you weren't the co-host.
So look, what we're going to do is we're going to give you our top 10 albums of the year. We're going to talk about them for a little bit. We're going to leave the brilliant music journalism to the brilliant music journalists. We're going to talk as fans as we see it. I'm going to give you a little preamble to what I thought of this year and like a couple of EPs and a couple of albums that didn't make my top 10. And then we'll go through it bit by bit. It's not going to be a long episode, I don't think. So don't think we're going to go too deep here. We'll see. I know Gav's got a lot of notes.
Wait, you have got a fucking Bible here in front of me. This is another problem as well that James had noted. He listens to a lot of these albums of the year shows, which admittedly I don't. And he says you can tell that people are obviously prepared at reading. They're very well put together, very well produced. But we're here in front of you on camera, so I can't exactly sit like this kind of. And then for this band, it's all we're a wee bit. We'll see how it goes,
Yeah.
basically.
Reading is awkward. So if you can tell, if you can see us reading, it feels awkward on video. Um, but look, I mean, the difference between me and Gav, we found out, is that I started doing my albums of the year list in January this year because as soon as I'm listening to albums, they're going on my list. So when I get to now, I can go to I think it's just over 150 albums I've done in depth this year, and I've got them written. They're all in order, and I only have to go back and listen to them a bit, and it's easy. But I think Gav's gone basically got to December and gone right. What were my albums for the year?
Aye, December 15th, maybe. And it was that. So I'm sitting with my son last week, so we're having dinner, and we're just chatting. He says, oh, so what's happening with you tomorrow? And I said, oh, I've got the podcast with James for doing this albums of the year. And they went, all right, and what's that entail? So, well, basically, just list your albums, but it's not something I've ever done before. And he goes, all right, so it's been a bit of struggle. I said, now it feels like I've been studying with you. But the guy I do it with, the big guy, James, he's like, he's got like a book club. Like he does this with his pals. And he just looked at me, this face of proper fucking Glaswegian teenage disappointment. As if, how could you soil yourself, Dad, being friends with this man? I could even see the humour in it because I could see how disappointed he was with me by association. I
Yes.
was like, this boy, honest to God, this is now, it's, I started mainly, I won't get caught out. If this podcast goes another year, I will not be getting caught out with this again. I will be putting some thought into this post this episode. What would be great for fans and what would help me out a great deal is if you just don't like this episode, if you just about like, just put in the comments, it was shit. This is not what I tune into Two Promoters One Pod for. I love novel idea, James, but it's just not for me. Please never do this again. And we will listen clearly.
But this is like for me, this is like we book the lineups, and there's nothing more exciting than someone being, I just discovered so and so band at your festival. And this is like an offshoot of that, where if there's one person listening that goes home and sticks on one of these albums and is like, I fucking love this album, never heard of this band, then my work is done here. And in that regard, I did say this, I think, a couple of weeks ago, but my list is my list. It is not supposed to be the best rock and metal albums of the year. I haven't listened to the Linkin Park album. I haven't listened to the Bring Me the Horizon album. I haven't listened to Sum 41. Um, I've listened to Knock Loose and Idols. They're good albums, but they're not really to my personal taste. This is my list. It's not supposed to be objectively the best albums. It's just the fucking ones I like.
I'm chiming in. I echo everything James said. I haven't heard the full Blood Incantation album, so I don't want to hear it. Okay, no matter like I don't want to hear the album. I'm sure I will at one point, but I don't want to hear it. Like Gav didn't have fucking Blood Incantation. Shove Blood Incantation right up your ass, right? Fucking, I'll get to it. I'll get to it when I'm fucking ready to listen. Anything that says it's the best prog death album since Ghost Reveries that I never fucking liked either is no probably not going to be for me, right? So. Keep your fucking Blood Incantation. I'll book them sometime. Now, that's what I'll do for you. I'll book them and I'll put them on a stage.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you start an album of the year list. Fucking absolutely, absolutely incredible. By firing shots at what has come out as most people's favorite album of the year. Incredible. Love it. Okay.
That
I
is
got a couple of EPs I wanted to shout out before we start, if you don't mind. Because they're so fucking great. They're so amazing. The 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 second place one for me is Apricity by Vower. Now we've talked about Vower a bunch on the podcast. I thought this album lived up to what I was wanting, which was basically the best bits of Black Peaks crossed with Palm Reader, and that in a very lazy way, that's how I'm going to describe it. It's really good. I feel like that band are going to go from strength to strength. Their tours like sold really well apparently recently, so yeah, that's good. And you don't need to be a detective to guess that my EP of the year is Unpeople by Unpeople because it features banger after fucking banger after banger after banger, and they the heavy riffs and sugary choruses they've got are like they feed right into my Wild Arts fanboy thing. They don't sound like the Wild Arts, but they do the same thing to me. They make me want to stand at a gig like everyone did at 2000 Trees and sing every fucking word. So yeah, that's my EPs. Um, should we do it? Should we go on to the albums, Gav?
well.
You enjoying yourself?
I'm going to give a shout for just adding shit in that was in the plan. Then,
I fucking
I want. I never. Oh, that's right. I never had a chance to read the plan because I was album
it was it.
34 on my
It was
fucking
in the
list.
plan. It was in the
So
plan.
I'm going to shout out something I didn't know, but we'll talk about EPs or live albums. The National released Rome, which is a live recording from Rome this week or the week before. It is incredible. I don't know if live albums are allowed to be included in this. I
Yeah.
probably not. They are.
No, no, not in. Well, no, I'd say not in the album of the year
Aye.
list.
But if you want something that's a bit not rock and metal, the National is where to go. Where you can get a wee flavour of the live thing. So there you go. The Fantasia to counteract your EPs. There you go. Yeah,
Lovely stuff.
I'll start because I feel like all the fucking the procession is all about you. It's all about like your considered 12-month long album of the year, right? So I'll start so then you can finish us off in some don't fucking obvious choice that everybody else said, I'd imagine. So let's go. I will start. Coming in, I want to say honourable mentions as well then. Bands I literally sat down and wrote notes for that ultimately fell out the top 10. Where Harriet, Glassing, Foxing, who I think within the next couple of months will end up there because that is one I only get into in the last 3 or 4 days and it's pretty incredible. I just never had the time to sit with it, and at some points it gets a little bit too alt J for me, and then I lost my way. But by the times where you've got sort of I don't know the Arcade Fire, but the Dillinger Escape Plan try to get in the middle of the song, were pretty impressive, and I can see Foxing being a band I'm going to investigate a lot further. And I loved the fact that if we know the guy who had the Mother's Liam, and he's a persistent fucker, and he's at you all the time to play your festivals. My Spotify channeled his inner hidden mothers thing. It was every time a song finished in any genre, hidden mothers came on for the new album, and it was like battering me with like, we need to be in your top 10. It was a close call. That's a great album. Go and check that out too. Those are the ones that missed it. The first album to get in at number 10, A Swarm of the Sun with An Empire. Now, about 10 years, this is one of these bands where I heard first time at the, probably it's been recommended, but probably at the side of a pool in Spain this year. And it was that album that we've mentioned a few times, the riffs that Robin for Pelagic had gone about as one of the best post metal albums. 10 years ago that came out, so fans have been waiting a long time. And what they got now is this 70-minute funeral procession of the most bleak, stripped back, and slowed down post metal going on to borderline drone at points that you're going to have the pleasure of listening to this year. It's it sounds like it's been recorded in an empty cathedral. It's just fucking there's like a church organ sound that's always there. It always sounds like you're part of this, as I say, funeral procession, and you're just locked to your pew as this music's just bleak, haunting, fucking glacial at points. Post metal is probably the best way to describe it, and the best track to sum it up is the 17-minute behemoth that captures everything that's good about this record, the Pyre. Then that starts, and it's this slow take, and the vocals, the vocalist, like it's almost like he's about to burst into tears for most of it, and then it builds into this Cult of Luna section in the middle where it's just this drumming procession that just keeps going and building up to it, to the point you're a bit like, fuck, right, it's time for the funeral of the Pyre. Set me in fucking fire, let me go, and it just keeps going. I mean, the whole fucking thing is a journey, but it takes the same length as like a Nails record. So that, to describe in one word, I've put hypnotizing. It is not one for the Christmas party. It's for 40-watt Sun fans who like some fucking heavy artillery with their misery.
Lovely stuff. You fucking you've I love the effort that has clearly gone in from an ex-journalist. Fuck me. So you're about to make me. It's going to come out as like Gav's brilliant at this. I enjoyed that. I enjoyed
that
that.
that was,
Um,
I tell you what, James, that was one of those ones where there was half notes, half fucking ad lib, and somewhere in
good,
between, like, ah, fuck, I should really have said that. So there you go.
good. So for me, before I tell you my number 10, the, my top 10 this year is very, I'm afraid to say, sort of on the sort of weirder, more avant-garde end of heavy music, right? That is not always the case with me. My list last year wasn't like that. There's usually like the Dirty Nil or Creeper or Jamie Lenman or something in my top 10. I feel like this year has been a shit year for choruses and a great year for fucking weird, heavy stuff. So that's my apology if you go to 2000 Trees, basically. Um, the bands that nearly made my, or the bands that were sort of in contention for my top 10 that didn't make it is Sumac, Julie Christmas, Zealanada, On Two Others, Vernart, Spectral Voice, Chat Pile, High Vis, Pine, and two records that I've been listening to loads recently, but were a bit too late for the party, which was Ulcerate and Dodsrick. So yeah, it's been, I think, fucking great year. And my number 10 album is Sub Rosa in Eternum by Tribulation. So Tribulation are like a so Tribulation historically, I guess, were a black metal band. Now they're not really a black metal band anymore. They write these like massive goth rock sort of bangers with like a little kind of cloak of black metal on it, but it's not really got most of the sort of tropes you'd expect from black metal. They're not really there. There's like the drums are not there, the black metal guitars are not there. They just write these fucking bangers. The vocalist has this way of writing a chorus and switching from this like kind of I don't know, like Nick Cave croony thing he does straight into a black metal vocal without any gap, but it's catchy. And the way he does it is unlike anyone I've heard do that before. This is like my dancing around the kitchen album. in particular, the song Saturn Coming Down is like one of the absolute highlights of my year. Anyone who liked Creeper's last album, I fucking love Creeper's last album, should listen to this. Yeah, it's just, it's basically goth rock heaven. I don't listen to goth rock really, but I do listen to it when Tribulation are doing it, and this is fucking great.
Yeah, definitely a band that's getting a lot of love for the last album. It'd be good. One, we had them in a package once and lost them at the last minute, and it's a shame because they would have. I think they would go down well at Damnation for sure.
They're one of those bands that like doesn't really fit Trees or ATG. I mean, if the world was fair, they should play at Trees, really.
Yeah,
Actually, wait a minute, I've changed my mind. They should play at Trees. But
that's a
um,
problem. They're getting booked, and that's just the ending. 'Cause I want to see them.
but yeah, but they fit Damnation because of where they came from, I think, don't they? You know, because they were black
Yeah,
metal. But
yeah.
if you don't like black metal, please don't let that put you off. If you like fucking massive fucking choruses, go and listen to that
So
song and
if
smoke
you like
some stuff.
Creeper and Ghost, go and check out Tribulation.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, coming in at number 9. How could they not be in the list? Our Irish Republican hoods. Kneecap with 3 gram of prop in at fucking number 9. Now, it's supposed to be for the crack and a bit of hip hop. They were using this dying Irish fucking language. But here they are now, fucking clutch of awards for the BAFTAs. They've nominated for 2 Oscars now.
Yep.
And most importantly, I'm sure we'd all agree, getting to headline Trees just mere months after James was scoffing at the fact that where he would put them in the main stage. Here they are now headline. They are, I don't know, Beastie Boys for Celtic fans. They use most of their platform on stage in the live setting to sing about drugs. And the latest album is this I'm Flush, as him having enough money to buy Coke without having to worry about it. Rhino Cat is exactly what it says in the tin. I mean, what is the lyric as it goes? I'm fucked. This stuff puts rhinos to sleep, and they're just repeating that. And it's a party. It is that Beastie Boys style party. But I think what gives it that other level of importance or other level of, yeah, look, you clinking it past the bounced about in a rave, listening to some hip hop beats, and some wee guys in Lacoste trackies, is that there is a deeper message there. They are promoting the Irish language, which so few people speak. They do have this passionate plea for a united Ireland, which they've got going on through it, and that comes through the music too. There's one track amid all the nonsense and the fun and the joy in the party called "Powerful," which I assume is Irish for powerful. And it's the sample it starts with is a guy talking about how Protestants and Catholics in Belfast get together at raves and forget their differences and how music can change it. And that's and always an underlying message when you cap that I think separates it just from being a bit jovial and just all about drugs and fighting Rangers fans. So aye. That is, it stuck with me. It's definitely one at the start of the year. I've been like, aye, okay, I don't mind. Seeing them live now, watching the film, getting on board with the whole hype train. I am all in and free Palestine.
Yes, mate. Me and you are going to be climbing over each other at trees, aren't we? It's going to properly go off. I can feel it.
That'll be such a belting headline set. It's good. I think by that point the live show will have moved on a year. Also, the experience from playing these size of shows will be moved, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with it.
Yeah, yeah. They got some big shows coming. I think it might be this week in Ireland. Some proper big arenas and stuff. Great. Okay. My number 9 is The Last Will and Testament by Opeth. So look, I mean, I'm a massive Opeth fan, right? So in some ways, it's not a surprise that this is in my top 10. But you know, over the years, they've sort of challenged their fans. Some of their more recent records. I mean, the last album was good, but not amazing. So it's been like a real joy to like have this on for the last few weeks. It's kind of a bit of a grower. It took me a while to work out. There was a lot of like, there's a couple of mates I was talking to being like, "Is it good? I can't tell. I don't know. I'm fucking really trying to work this out." And I'm really happy to say that it's a proper excellent Opeth album. I mean, the press story is like, "Oh, the growls are back." There's
Yeah.
not really, that's not really the story. There's not loads and loads of death metal vocals on this. He does. lots of singing. There's still loads of the sort of prog side of the band. But I think they've got this kind of crazy inventive streak on this album. The first song is absolutely fucking crackers. I was watching Justin Hawkins from The Darkness does this. He's like a sort of online personality now where he reviews other music
Yeah.
and like talks about it. And he had the first Opeth song on. And he was like, "This is fucking wild. This bit sounds like Queen. This bit sounds like this." And like that. And actually, when you really listen to the song, it goes to an absolutely like a zillion places. They write a good riff, they play it for 30 seconds, they think, fuck it, let's do something else. Which is the true spirit of like prog. Um, and look, it's great. And they even get this is not going to appeal to you, Gav, but they get the guy from Jethro Tull to do a flute solo. And it's like one of the sort of most awesome, but also hilarious breakdown bits of the year. I mean, look, overall, it goes to lots of different places, but it all really hangs together as like an Opeth album. I'm a big fan, and this is what I'd say to you. If you already like Opeth, you should be all over this. If you weren't sure when you first listened to it, Miles, you need to go back and listen to it because this fucking album's really good. If you're not an Opeth fan, don't listen to this album. Go and get into Opeth on Ghost Reveries or Blackwater Park or whatever. Um, and look, on that note, Opeth have got 14 albums, and as Gav knows, I do like to have a list, and I have a list of Opeth's 14 albums in order
Oh, this is dreadful, man.
on my phone,
Turn it
and
off now, guys. Turn it
this
off.
this is right in the middle. It's in the middle of the Opeth discography. It's not the best. It's like number 7 of 14, right? So it's a good Opeth album. They're a fucking brilliant band, and I've really enjoyed it. And that
Oh,
is my
hold me
number one.
back. I'm actually ready to pause this so I can go and hear the Jethro Tull fucking flute interlude. Something that does not sound like the guy from Jethro Tull playing a flute is Frail Bodies, Artificial Bouquet. Now, this was a year for me that I really get. Well, maybe last year and this year, the Gillian Carter, Glassing, Frail Body. I really get into what I'm just going to encapsulate as Screamo. Every time I hear this band mentioned, it's like, it's Screamo, it's emo violence, there's black metal there, it's post-hardcore, I think they're stretching. I mean, I'm sure they influence a bit under the bracket of Screamo before everything needs to be sub-genred to the point of having no description. Screamo encapsulates what these guys do pretty well. My issue so far with getting into this genre is when you see it live, I haven't had the best of luck. I saw them at the G2 in Glasgow for the first time, and I couldn't hear any instruments until like the fourth or fifth track. Saw them at Art Tangent, unfortunately never had the best sound. I saw Glassing at Art Tangent, I think that had the best sound. Saw Gillian Carter at Damnation, didn't think they had the best sound. And I suppose it's not massively surprising with these bands that do everything at a million miles an hour, almost to the detriment of their instruments. I mean, it's the opposite of post rock, where you're sitting there and these guys are more are jumping about and just going crazy at the same time as the guy for fucking Gillian Carter swinging about his guitar as he was trying to play it. That's probably not the best practice, when your guitar's behind your head instead of in your hands. So I haven't had the best experience of these bands live, but on record they are unbelievable. It feels like you're getting slapped in the face. Everything is at its limit. The drums, the vocals, everything's at that point where he's throw it when he's doing the vocal. Sounds like it's about to fucking break down. Or the vocal cords are going to break down. And it feels like you're just getting fucking slapped in the face continuously. And then just as it's getting there, they give you enough of a breather, especially Frail Body. They give you enough of a breather. It just tunes down a wee bit to just give you a cuddle and say, look, you've got this, hang in here. We'll get through. We'll get through to the next thing, the next track, and you get there and the payoff's worth it. Midway through the track refrain, you're honestly, it is getting to the point of like hit the pause button, and just at that point, this bit goes ding, 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 like really fucking slow. Could be a wee part of a post rock tune, and again, you're back. The melody catches you, and then when it kicks back in with those wailing vocals and fucking drums and the guitars at a fucking billion miles an hour, it's just such a huge payoff. I'm loving everything about this screamo scene at the minute. They all play like they're trying to keep the lights on. They all play like it's our last gig, and there's just something very exciting about it. There's no respite, and I okay, the production's not there, but I don't know if I want to hear albums by the likes of Frail Body and Glasses that the production is as polished need to be. So I'm in this journey. I'm looking forward to 2025, what these bands have got to offer up. And I'm very much looking forward to seeing Frail Body at Damnation.
Lovely stuff. Yeah, I enjoyed that album too. Um, so my number eight is Beyond the Reach of the Sun by Ancients. Um, so look, I've never listened to this band before. Um, this really grabbed my attention. It basically what it does is it's like they've gone and made a list of my favorite bands and then written an album which just like slowly ticks them off as you go. This is like Elder, Mastodon, Cult of Luna, Opeth. Sometimes they go more extreme and heavy for a band like say Ahab. They sound a bit like Ahab in places. Um, eh, if anyone who's a fan of June, I would definitely check out this, or any of those bands I've mentioned. You should definitely check out this. It's got shitloads of melody. It's got shitloads of prog. It has a range of different vocals, like from proper heavy vocals to sung vocals. The guitar's fucking mad, incredible, inventive guitar. Um, there's a lot going on. It's one of those albums where you get more from it every time you listen to it. And look, there's some albums on this list where I'm going to basically be saying to people, like my number one album of the year, I'm going to be saying everyone should listen to this album. You should go and fucking listen to this album. With Ancients, I'm not saying everyone should listen to this album. I'm saying if you like one of those bands I mentioned, you are missing out if you don't listen to this because they are doing the sort of heavy sort of prog doom post metal thing fucking great. They're mixing all those genres in there, and it was really brilliant. And yeah, I'm all over it. And
And
if only
you
they were playing a UK festival next year, that would be fucking brilliant, wouldn't it? But
see that, but
we'll see.
I feel like I'm getting cut. Are they announced for? Are they in? Are they in that tangent lineup? No. Have they said no? You don't know.
We'll see,
Okay.
Gav. You got to wait and see, mate. You got to wait and see.
That's definitely your crippling alcoholism when we're just fucking getting them and that's end it. I don't care. I'm going to go see them. Okay, good. So what's this coming in at number seven? Thou. Umbilical. Now, these guys almost get fucking papped at the top 10 list for not coming and playing Damnation, but going and playing the fucking Dog and Carrot in Scarborough to 60 people instead. So, I stuck with you though. There's few sounds in extreme metal that are quite as distinctive as Thou. In my opinion, it is the finest form of sludge. They've got big, fucking thick, hazy riffs and the vocals that just sound like they've got their own fuzz pedal that's jammed on forever. It comes in one sort of, despite them being quite dispassionate live, almost stoic, all of them, and it comes across that record, it all sounds as if it comes in as one piece. It doesn't sound like a bunch of musicians making this growly fucking fuzz in separate rooms. It sounds like they're all doing it together, and it just sits perfectly. It's sludge is a bit of a genre where I mean, if you look at a Down or a Crowbar and you see that your New Orleans sludge, and it's all like, oh, let's go and fight an alligator and fucking drive a Harley Davidson into freedom. These guys, it's almost like the opposite of that. It's like they rather get in the swamp with the fucking alligator and have the Harley Davidson run over them. They're just everything about it's vile. Everything that I think that when I listen to other sludge, there's a sort of polished hook to some of it, and these guys just don't have that. They don't. It all sounds like they do not give a single fuck whether you're listening or like this at all, and this is all for them. And it's great. It actually comes across in the live show as well. I mean, I've seen them like they don't interact with the crowd at all, and not even a James Bernard Keenan way. Like they don't even seem to register eye contact with anyone else in the room. They just sort of stare blankly into the distance in some sort of fucking demonic state, and it comes across the music when it's played live. I think that they're pretty consistent with their albums, but I think that Umbilical is the best album they've done. The Narcissist Prayer is maybe my favourite track in it, and it's just when the fucking riff comes in it, it's just, I mean, it sounds like an odd word to say, but it's just gorgeous, and all this fucking hate and bile, it just absolutely gorgeous. And I feel nothing when you cry is probably the best fucking song title to sum up how I feel about a band. And that is so fucking sinister, that song title. That's how, to describe that music. I Feel Nothing When You Cry is fucking cruel, and I absolutely love it. Both live, both in record. When that energy comes in, it's just, they don't give a fuck, and it makes me give more fucks. I love a bit of Now.
Lovely stuff. They're probably the only band that I'm scared of booking. I don't want, like me and you, we talk a lot, but we don't actually know what the other one's booking. And there are some times when you go and inquire for a band and they're booked by the other person's festival.
Yeah.
But like that, thou are the one I'm really trying to avoid that happening. Because I'm like, I don't think Gav will forgive me if I book thou. They've got to
To be
play,
honest,
they
by
have to
this
play
point,
damn.
I'm broken. I mean, I understand they're coming in 80 sort of dates around about Roadburn, but they're literally playing Becky Laverty's basement in fucking Glossop. You know what I mean? It's like, at that point, like, you can't get them on the main stage at fucking Damnation, but Becky has them in her basement, then I accept it. I accept defeat. The timing just cannot work properly for Damnation in this band. And maybe they would kill a wee bit of my spirit if I met them in person, or maybe they'd be the fucking nicest people ever, most likely, like most bands. But I get what you're saying. When they appear, you've got a band due to appear this year that breaks my heart a little bit, but I mean, I accept that as well.
Yeah, I look forward to discussing that. I don't know who you mean, but yeah. Okay, my number seven is Wall of Eyes by The Smile. So this is a side project of Radiohead's Tom York and Johnny Greenwood and the drummer from Sons of Kemet. So like this kind of sticks out like a sore thumb on my list in a way. Um, I mean, these motherfuckers have released two albums this year. Both the albums are great. My preference is the first one, this one, Wall of Eyes. I guess you have to start by sort of addressing the Radiohead thing. Does this sound like Radiohead? Of course, it fucking sounds like Radiohead. It's got Tom York singing on it and Johnny Greenwood playing guitar. So 100% it sounds like Radiohead. It is so, I don't know. I'm reading between the lines. I haven't read any interviews with them about this, but I would imagine they can't be fucked with all the bullshit that goes on around being in a massive, massive, one of the biggest bands ever type band. And they're just going to be like, well, we can really scratch all our creative itches over here without the pressure of, is it as good as, OK Computer? Is it as good as Kid A? They can just release an album. It's full of class, this album, like totally masterful. It's not like a bunch of, there's a lot of bands when they get, it's a bunch of millionaires sat in a room. Metallica have done this a lot, when no one's going, mate, stop fucking about. This is no good. You're just messing about. This isn't like that. This is not like a throwaway album they made. This is an album where they have like agonized, or it sounds like they've agonized over every single little part of it. Like the instrumentation is absolutely fucking amazing. There's orchestras, there's songs where there's no guitar, and you're like, what even is that sound? So it's like I'm like a bit lost when I get in the sort of genres here, because other than being like, it's a fucking weird Tom York album that sounds a bit like Radiohead, I don't really know where to go, other than to say there is loads of math rock on it. Who fucking have thought it? Someone's made math rock sound good in 2024, which is incredible. So if there's any like Arctangent math people here, go and listen to Wall of Eyes by The Smile. It's really great. And if anyone knows them, tell them that the festival they should play in the UK is Arctangent. The Smile headlining Arctangent would be fucking incredible.
That's
Uh,
such an odd one as well, because you're like, this band. I love Radiohead. They're one of my favourite bands in the world, and I didn't know this band existed. Yet, if you were to book them for that tangent, they most likely have to headline because it's fucking Tom York.
yeah, mate, I think they're already in arenas. I think this is their third album. So the first album, I think it's their third album. The first album was really good. The two this year, I mean, this is brilliant. The other one's good. And yeah, I think they're already in arenas just probably just on the name alone, but the the quality of the songwriting you cannot argue with. It's just really fucking engaging. So yeah,
I
I'm
mean,
all over it.
I mean, that's why I said it's important to do these top 10 album signs, because then you can come across some stuff that you've not heard otherwise. So I appreciate that, James. Because now I am definitely going to check it out, because I can't see a word. Because I like Tom York's solo stuff as well. I listened to The Razor for fucking years. So looking forward to checking it out. Number six,
Six.
Mono with Oath. Now, it's been a dry year for post rock. There hasn't been a whole lot that's come across my radar, and this even came across it very late, maybe last week, 10 days ago, and then went from not being in any sort of list to number six. Mono, if you don't know, they are the most classical, beautiful, delicate, dreamy of the top tier post rock bands. They don't do it's not a big tempo shift, stand on a pedal and get a different guitar. It's all very well orchestrated for looking for a better word for that. It's beautiful, it's delicate. When you're there, you go somewhere with them. I love it. That classical post rock, I think they're the very best that do it. This is the most gentle offering they'll put out in a while. Now the last album they started with track Riptide, which is like grindcore in comparison to some of this. I mean, this is as gentle as they get. I mean, there's one track called Sounds Like the Wind, which is like they're fascinated with the aesthetic of the sky and clouds. And it does sound, I mean, I don't speak Japanese and they don't utter any words, but it does sound like they're saying, take my hand, loser, we're going floating for an hour, because that's exactly where you go. I was listening to it last night again, just to like, is it really as good as top six? And you just lose yourself. And it's one of those ones where you have to submit to the music. It's no stick this on while you're cooking. It's no stick this on while you're driving. It's a bit like sit back, maybe with a glass of wine and enjoy the most gentle, dreamy post rock that's on offer. That's still very interesting and does still have its crescendos. But even when it gets to the post rock payoffs, it keeps that subtlety with it. It keeps that the pacing of the track. It's not like everybody just goes, right, that's it, we're at the big bit, let's just fucking hit the cymbals as hard as we can. So I am all over post rock. I suggest you grab the massage oil and go and enjoy an hour. Go and enjoy an hour away from the stresses of Christmas and New Year, because it's a fucking peach.
Get that on your poster. I suggest you grab the massage oil, Gav. Two promoters, one pod.
I'm assuming with a loved one. I mean, but listen, if it's a solo journey, that's fine too, pal. Batter on.
I've only listened to that album once, so I need to go back to it. So
You could definitely it could definitely pass you by without the proper. I mean, sometimes you just don't have the headspace to say I'm going to basically submit myself to this music for an hour. You know what I mean? Sometimes you're just listening to it; it's in the background. This is one of my it's so passive in places. It could just skip you by altogether. So I would next time you've got a chance to listen when you're sitting with that rum or beer or whatever and just want to chill, that is the time for Mono's Oath.
lovely. Well, look, there are post-rock bands like, say, Caspian, where you can just hook in quite easily.
Yeah,
But this, like any mono album, really takes proper like sort of attention, doesn't it?
yeah.
You can't just fucking have it on in the background. It's pointless. So yeah, okay, I will go and have a listen. My number six is Muntortuja by Aranzi Pazuzu. That may not be how you pronounce it. Fuck me, this fucking band, man. This band, what a band. What like they stick out on every list ever by being just the most crackers fucking what a fucking band. I mean, so I've already alluded to on here that I don't know how to describe them. Um, I've listened to some very good, I mean, That's Not Metal review was excellent in how they described it. It's this music, I struggle to do justice to in its description, but for me, it sounds like there's like some sort of intelligent alien life a billion years in the future have made this album. It's rooted in black metal because that's where they come from. But there's elements of hip hop, there's electronica, and there's loads of shit I don't even know how to put a name on it. There is definitely stuff on this album that I have never heard before on any other album. Nothing like it. There's sections with piano parts over fucking frantic heavy music where the piano is right at the top of the mix. It doesn't even really sound like a piano, and I'm just like, this is great. What the fuck what is it? I don't know what it is. So this is an album where I'm like, everyone should listen to this. Everybody, you're into like you're only here because you like 2000 Trees. Go and check this album out. Give it a chance. Like it's not a really a black metal album at all. It's a it's a fucking what the fuck is this album? Now look, in my list, and we're going to come in my top five. There are a bunch of forward-thinking, crazy heavy music bands, and the difference between them and Aranzi Pazuzu is they give a fuck about whether you like them or not. Aranzi Pazuzu couldn't give two shits about whether you like them. They have literally written the album they wanted to write, I think. Like you know, I like some pretty out there stuff, like let's say the Mars Volta, but the albums are written to try and hook a listener in as well. They're not just trying to repel you. This is just like they don't care. They're just writing what they want to write. It's truly incredible and truly unique. And I just, as cheesy as it may sound, the fact that this band even exists is fucking cool. I think
Yeah.
this album's fucking crackers. Just put it on once. Everyone, put it on once and see what you
No,
think.
it's one of those ones that I came to very late in the year, and I was enjoying. I was like, "Right, I need to switch this off. I'm not doing more of this. I'm not. There is nothing else. There is nothing else. Hold back the doors. We are dealing with these bands here. We're going to get a list together here, and then we'll come back to the others." And to be fair, when I was joking about Blood Incantation earlier, that is one of those bands that's behind those doors at the minute as well, because you're a bit like, I can't do a top 25 list in fucking 10 days. So Aranzi Pazuzu is definitely one that I'm very interested in investigating for, and I have always liked what I heard. Again, I don't think you're just Spotify shuffling and getting Harriet and then an Aranzi Pazuzu track and then just going, oh, but boom, I'm in. I think it maybe take a wee bit like, let's sit down and enjoy it and actually figure out which track to go on. Sometimes the bands can just be so fucking over the top with experimentation. You need to sit in one sitting rather than, let's just dive in for 8 minutes and see what we can get.
Absolutely. And the last thing I'd say, and is anyone who is not into heavy vocals, which is a bunch of people, the only thing heavy on this album is the vocals. Everything else is not really what you would probably even describe as metal. It's just experimental, crazy shit. And I would try, I don't want to talk down to people, but if you don't like heavy music, treat the vocal as another instrument on this. It's just part of like the thing. Don't treat it as like, where's my chorus? It's not, that's not the point of how this is put together.
Yeah,
Have a
yeah.
go.
Talking of heavy and pretty experimental artists who do make it palatable for the listener, and none better than Julie Christmas, ridiculous and full of blood. Now, Julie, I'm a sucker for Julie. I loved Battle of Mice. Battle of Mice. I mean, that Sleeping Dream track in Battle of Mice is one of my favourite tracks ever. And just the first time I'd ever really heard a vocalist take you on the journey through. I mean, you get a day pass to the psych ward that is Julie Christmas's mind, and you are like, what the fuck is happening here? This is storytelling at its most genius with these vocals that are demented. They're just something's not right. This is a woman who could probably set fire to you without thinking about it. Or at least that's how the vocals come across. I'm sure you're a lovely woman, Julie. But you're transported to inside this mind of a crazy woman when she's doing this, and she's brought this. Now, the last solo album she done, Bad Wife, I never really got on board with. There was a couple of decent tracks. I mean, the track Bow is an absolute peach, but it maybe was a little bit passive and didn't really have enough going on for me to get fully on board with. She she was obviously the vocalist for Mariner, which is Cultalona's best album, and I've never reached again. I mean, I listened to it just last night or the night before, and it's almost 10 years in, it sounds just as good as it ever did. Now, she's taken the best elements of her Battle of Mice experience, her solo work, and which did be minor, helped, of course, because you've got Johannes in the band in the recording studio for Ridiculous and Full of Blood, and created this at parts noise rock, at parts just heavy rock, bits of metal, post rock, combined them all together and taking you on the journey with her. It's great. She herself, she's got three different vocal types. She's got that insane demented pixie where you're listening to someone who terrifies the fucking life at you, and then you've got, I was sitting here like, I'm not going back to that expression, but it's exactly what it is. And then you've got the more, I don't know, traditional songs, and then you've got that almost third person wailing. That when you see her on stage, like, is she still in the body, or is she completely left? Did she? I mean, she just left the stage and gone somewhere else. She brings them all together great. Sometimes across the same track. By the time you get to I think the track's called "End of the World," we finally get Mariner 2. Johannes' vocals come in at the perfect timing with a huge big riff, and Julie screaming at the same time, and Mariner 2 is there in a different life form. And it's just fucking brilliant as everything she says, the way she carries. I think a lot of times with the lyrics, it's almost like pieces of our imagination dropped across a track rather than some processed thought. And you get these wee things like, one of these things is not like the other, and it just takes you off in another wee direction. Like, I didn't know what the fuck we're singing about here. When she was on Mariner, the meant of the one she said there, lay me down so I can see you run. Just stuff like that. You get these wee nuggets of mental brilliance that just shine through. Music's great, great album. So delighted that she's back with us on the live setting and in record, and I love the album.
Yeah, fantastic. That was narrowly missed out on my top 10, that album. Um, and it's climbed up my list ever since I saw it at Arctangent. I think the Arctangent set really unlocked the album for me. Okay, my number five is New Heaven by Inter Armour. Um, Talking of bands that are fucking bringing taking heavy music to new fucking wonderful mad places. Um, I mean, they are a monster of a band. It's kind of rooted more in death metal, but again is like hugely avant-garde, like weirder than weird. Um, the first song is literally like someone's written some riffs and just thrown them down a flight of stairs and just waited to see what happens. I feel like they have they start this album at the hardest to listen to. The first song is the hardest. It's the most confusing and the most difficult. And I feel like that has to be intentional. It's like the opposite of what you should do, right? They want to sort out a few of the hipsters that are trying to listen to them and just push them out the door. But look, don't let it deter you because this album's like super brilliant, super varied. Um, there's loads of like they do loads of kind of experimenting with like non-heavy guitar parts with heavy vocals and heavy drums. It's almost like all of these like Aranzi Pazuzu was like heavy vocals and but normal drums, and then this is like heavy drum, like it's fucking death metal, but the guitar's like some like nice thing going on at times. It's really like not describing it very well, but it's really quite otherworldly to listen to. And again, like I keep saying, they're another one of these bands that are like, Imperial Triumphant and not didn't release an album this year, but they're another one. They're taking heavy music. Sumac is another one. They're just doing fucking crazy shit with heavy music that hasn't been done before. And this album finishes with like a Nick Cave style ballad, which they pull off 10 out of 10. Is a lovely way to finish the album, like a warm blanket at the end, after this crazy journey they've taken you on. So um, they're fucking great. They were brilliant live at Damnation, as we talked about. And this album is everything you could want from Inter Armour, I think. And they're really becoming one of my favourite heavy bands,
Yeah,
to
and
say the
one of those bands that were so not like easily pigeonholed, but just in that sludge world to be somewhere between that death metal and sludge world. People, and I'm a sludge band, and now it's like, what the fuck is that? I mean, you're totally right. That opening, I remember when you recommended the New Heavens opening track, and you just get this horror film opening scene, and you're just like, man, that is not a gentle experience to get it to save you. I mean, you're picking the kids up for school, so you're totally right. Someone else is not making it easy for you. At number four, crippling alcoholism. Love from a padded room. Now, there's been. I'll talk about another record later. The two records that on the first listen of this year caught me by complete surprise. It's unusual to go into something and have no preconceived notion of what it's going to be at all. It could literally be grindcore, it could be soft rock, and crippling alcoholism for me were that. I just saw it recommended enough times online that I just hit play one time, and what came through was unbelievable, and just the scope of what it because it's if you're a lot of people talk about this, Nick Cave, Swans, Daughters. These are artists that I don't or haven't traditionally listened to. So that's the first bit, and then it's against this sort of this goth rock, new wave synth, and then you've got this guy, this vocalist doing this themed album, concept album about going through like a psych ward or a prison, and each track is from the prisoner's perspective, be it a fucking crazed killer or somebody that's been down in their luck and been jailed, just to monsters basically. And it's done so well because what's so hard to anybody like we could get a Cannibal Corpse record and go, I'm gonna fucking butcher your head and stamp it 15 times and throw your eyeballs against them. But he's doing it by like this fucking grill. A lot of the death metal, a lot of people singing in pretty maybe cringy, horrific, cringy quotes, and it's just lyrics, and you're not getting anything. This guy is gently crooning it into your ear. I mean, he's just going, "You should have thought about your family, and now they bleed for your stupidity. You should have thought about your little ones, and now they're gone." And they're like, "You've paid me." It's something about a guy who's been paid to go and kill a family and singing it back, and you're like, "Fuck me, man! This is my 6 year old listens to this and sings the lyrics." And I was just, "Should have thought about your family," because it sounds like a pop fucking song. It sounds like something you get, and the guys talk about murder and torture and families, and it's just bleak. And I've seen a couple of times, and I've seen once someone post online, I might have been in damnation for them, or getting it, but the lyrics are cringy. And I think that kind of misses the point of the lyrics are supposed to be from the cycle's head. It's not the songwriter sitting down and saying, "Oh, this is what," because there's a one that goes, the guy saying, "I get more pussy than you, I make more money than you." I don't think that's the guy who writes the song going, "Oh, this would be a cracking lyric. I get more pussy than you." I think that's him saying, "This fucking crackpot that's in jail for rape or murder." That's his viewpoint at the time. So I get on board. And sometimes just how profound the lyrics are. When somebody said, "You should have thought about your family." You don't need to say, "I went in and I killed him, I butchered him." You're getting that across anyway, and doing it in such a gentle way, and it never stays in any one place. I mean, it may be in a bit like Aranzi Pazuzu, but without the extremity. You've got those synths getting into a bit, and some bits you can get a wee bit death metal, or the vocals of death metal, and it gets back in. My favourite tune in the whole fucking record is Otessa, and that one, but it ends, and I'd love to see the lyrics properly for that one because the guy's screaming, "This world's enough for me. After all you've done, your love's enough for me." Like this guy almost screaming it for redemption after God knows what he's fucking done to someone, and over some post rock that could be the end of a Sigur Rós or Nordic Giants tune, and it's just the only thing that stopped this record from being the number one album of the year is it is an hour long, and there is bits that just gets challenging to the point of the bleakness sort of overtakes you, and the enjoyments can sort of zap to it a wee bit, and I'll just not every tune in it stands up to "I'll pay more if you let me watch" on a Tessa. If it had been 15 minutes shorter, it probably would have been my album of the year. I fucking love it. Can't wait for more people to hear it and for, see them live at Damnation. I really hope they come through with the goods live.
Great stuff. That's must feel good that you're introducing this band. It's really like no one really knew who they were, and now I see so many comments online from Damnation fans being excited about this.
And it's such a sleeper. And firstly, if you're one of those people that recommend it first, we are not, and I'm definitely not trying to take credit for you. I'm not introducing crippling alcoholism to the world. What James means is I'm introducing crippling alcoholism to a lot of the Damnation world who are now checking them out because they're on a poster. But that was such a sleeper. That was released in February. And then when I was going back and trying to read out and find a bit more about the lyrics and the concept of the album, like people were saying in America when it was coming out, like it was album of the year material. This is great, but it didn't make a blemish in it. Like it was no one spoke about it. First I really seen it get mentioned was away into August September before I even went to check it out myself. So it's just one of these one real sleeper albums, and I hope they're going to do a lot more because it's fucking it's great. It's absolutely great.
Good stuff. Okay, my number four is Ilion by Slift. I mean, this album's brilliant. It touches on a bunch of influences without ever really sounding like any of them. But I mean, here's four for you: a bit of Sleep, a bit of the Mars Volta, a bit of Electric Wizard, a bit of Elder. It's kind of doom, kind of psychedelic, very progressive. It's got a great mixture of like melody, but also prog. They'll reel you in with some melody, then hit you with a fucking 9 minute jam, and then you'll think it's gone a bit soft and psychedelic, and they'll hit you with something that's as heavy as anything fucking Electric Wizard have ever done. And it just kind of bounces back and forwards, but it just takes you on this like fucking rotating journey. I'm like, I was listening to it a couple of days ago, and I'm still like getting new shit from it. Still discovering stuff, still taking off layers. And it's like what it sounds like they're having so much fun. It's like if I was gonna, if you were gonna give me like a genie, and I could wish to be in any one of the bands from my top 10, it would be this band because they sound like they're having a fucking whale of a time. They sound like they're all eyes shut, fucking just playing and just loving it. You know when like Sabbath were at their best fucking jamming, or Zeppelin, or the Mars Volta, when they're all just locked in and giving it some. They exude that sort of joy. And yeah, it's great. It was my number two for quite a lot of the year. It slipped down to number four, but yeah, check it out.
I feel so. I keep forgetting it's 9 months we've done this podcast. When you mentioned that, if somebody had asked me beforehand what would be in James's top 10, if I didn't think that that Swift album had been recorded and released in 2023, I'd have banked in it. But when you said that, they can't possibly have had a new album because you recommended Swift in like the opening episodes we ever done. So that
Yeah.
album must have just came out.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's been around for a while. And I'm still like, I still feel so sad that I didn't see even a second of the Mark Tangent. How can that be possible? Fuck's sake.
Right up there with a Hex Vessel clashing with Love Sex Machine, and you watching neither.
Yeah.
The
All the
moment
bands I missed last year, I'm basically trying to book for the
I,
Wednesday next
I
year. So
get them back, they're all coming for me. Okay, okay. Where are we? Number three.
yeah.
Get into the
Big boy
tickly bit.
time now. Big boy time. Not top three. This is where you
So
get a medal and everything.
this is the second album that when it first heard it, absolutely punched me in the face. Meryl Streep, Songs for the Deceased. Now, well, to be fair, the album did, but Meryl Streep as an artist earlier in the year with his debut album was what punched me in the face. Like, fuck me. I remember sitting by the side of the pool, just being shouted at, screamed at by an Irish punk who could not understand why people were homeless and why people living in poverty and why priests and nuns and fucking were able to get away with so long putting fucking the bodies of children in a silo pit. And there's few artists, especially a solo artist, doing it all his fucking self, that managed to convey that level of anger. And when the second album, Songs for the Deceased, it doesn't let up. There is absolutely no point where you've got that. Let's use a lazy comparison to Kneecap because they're both for that same island. Uh, there's no point where he's having a laugh, where he's a bit like, everything's going to be okay. In fact, he literally says to you, it's not all going to be okay, and I'm not here to tell you otherwise. It doesn't let up. He's like, do not get comfortable, do not smile. This will not be over quickly. You will not enjoy it. But it's important, and it's just fucking it sits well. The reason I think it works with Damnation because there's such amount of heavy rock in there. With the stuff there is, even though he's one man on stage with a flashlight, there is so much guitars. There is the heavy drums. It's not like it's well, it's not like it's hip hop. It's not like it's fucking. It's like Kneecap. So I'm all in it. I remember that night, his last tune in it. Now, I don't know anything about this guy at this point. Nothing at all, other than the fact he'd been recommended to me. And his last song in the first album is a tribute to his dad, who died. And I'm fucking crying at the side of the pool with sunglasses on, sitting supposed to be enjoying my day with my wife, and I'm fucking crying at the side of the pool. And I messaged the guy and said, listen to the album, absolutely fucking class. And that's how that relationship came to be. End up his booking agent got in touch with the do Damnation. Couldn't get him on for last year. Here for this year. But at that point, already decided songs for the deceased come out, so I'm really hoping that's gonna be a banker, and it just comes at you again. In some ways, even heavier. It's like trying to wrap your head around the concept of abuse in the Catholic churches and what happened to women when they fell pregnant through there in the 40s and 50s and 60s is maybe not quite as simple for a Glaswegian guy in his 40s as it is to the track about homelessness and why our families living in hostels and why our kids are struggling with food. And for some reason, even though the subject matter isn't quite so as grim, it's fucking almost as hard hitting because it's something you can identify with and you can see in your own streets, be it Glasgow or fucking Dublin. And it, as I say, it doesn't let up. He doesn't want it to be comfortable. At one point in it, he's saying he's talking about gambling debts and people who live the lifestyle are just using every last penny they've got to go to Paddy Power and lose all the money, go home and beat the shit out of their kids and wife and blame it at them and get up the next day and do it again. And he's got a spit where he goes, the last chance he took was the one that got him. And the last chance he took was the one that got him. The last chance he took was the one that got him. And he does this like 6, 7, 8 times to the point it's uncomfortable. It makes you feel uncomfortable in the car as I'm listening to it. You're like, that's what he wants. He wants you like, don't let this slip past you, mate. I'm no, but the song for Terence, a guy who went into a police cell when he was fucking almost a kid and never came back out. It's like, this is a song for Terence. This is not for you to skip past. This is not for you to sit there and enjoy. And weirdly, when you're seeing him live, there is a weird disconnect. Where do you clap or say yeah? Because like these fucking songs are so horrific and tragic in nature. You feel like you should just be there spectating, which is clearly not what he wants. Well, 'cause he wants a live gig, but you find that you're conflicted when he's singing about the deaths of children and homelessness and fucking injustices, and you're sitting there clapping, going, "Yeah." Well, I remember one guy was trying to give him a drink of beer and just enjoying the fact he was at a Meryl Streep show, but it just looked so awkward as he was fucking belting out this bile about the Irish government at the same time. And there's just something about that I fucking love. I love his live show. I love the how potent he is on record, how angry he is, and the message he's got to get across. So, aye, what you do today will always be important. That's his message to everyone who feels like they're under the fucking boot of any government. And aye, I'm all about it. Love that record. I hope in the live setting he gets the opportunity to grow and introduce m- hired members so he can get those samples and guitar parts and drums on stage with him. I think that'll do him a great deal of good in the live setting too. But aye, all the best. Love the cunt.
Lovely. Okay, my number three is The Shape of Fluidity by Duel. Um, I mean, fuck me, they're almost as hard to describe as Aranzi Pazuzu. I've actually heard a number of reviews, and no one seems to be able to agree what this band actually sound like. Um, they don't really come. They don't really come from a particular genre. It's almost like you just want to say they're a great alt rock band. They're like, what are they? Well, they're alternative rock. I don't know. I mean, musically, it's like a perfect circle meets 80s soft rock. Now, look, who listens to 80s soft rock? Fucking none of us, right? None of us listening to Journey or whatever. But it's like it's got kind of got this arty thing going on. But then there's absolute fucking hits and choruses, right? I mean, a couple of people wrote on either the Damnation Forum or the Two Promoters One Pod Facebook, about they saw me during having a lovely time during Duel because I was fucking singing. I was like hands in the air singing. It's like being at a Bon Jovi concert. They
Yeah.
are these. I mean, the first three songs in this album are all hits. They're cool hits. They're arty hits, but they are just fucking songs with choruses. That look, there's a chunk of prog in their music, but there's this like 80s rock sheen over it all in the way it's produced and the way the chorus is hit. Um, it's like I don't know. It basically sounds like Duel, right? The guitar lines are amazing. There's that kind of like 80s thing where it's like Richie Sambora or Slash stood on a mountaintop with fucking wind blowing in their hair playing a solo.
Yeah.
Makes me feel like that sometimes when I listen to it. And I don't really think that's even what they're going for. And I don't want it to put people off because I keep going back to saying that it is cool and it is arty, but it's fucking in some ways like quite over the top. Um, and look, some of the songs on this album are actual world beaters. That third song, I said it on the pod a few months ago, and I'm going to say it again. is the best song of this year. It's fucking so fucking amazing. Um, they appeal to me, my music, the music fan in me that likes Hex Vessel and the music fan in me that likes Creeper, which is that even though I spend a lot of time listening to Interama and Aranzi Pazuzu and stuff that you'd never sing along to, quite often I just want to have a chorus, but I'm bored of listening to Bon Jovi. I'm bored of listening to Bad Religion. Uh, I'm like, I don't want it to be totally straight anymore for me. That's like James in 1994. Like me now wants to listen to Hex Vessel or fucking, in this case, Duel, because they got bangers. I can sing along to them and it puts a big smile on my face, regardless of the. It's quite a complex album in terms of the subject matter, but they've got fucking songs and the songs are great. And that's the shape of
Part of my
fluidity by Duel.
it's part of my festive break. I'm going through your top 10. I'm going through your top 10 to see if there's any. I mean, the dual record is a peach, but I'm just thinking as I'm listening to each one of these, I'm going through your top 10 to see if there's any sense in any of it. And I'm trusting you that there is some sense in all of it. So I'm looking forward to my musical journey getting into 2025 as a result of this strenuous podcast.
Good. I expect some voice memos over the Christmas drunken voice memos, please, in the afternoon on Boxing
Oh,
Day.
tell me all about how you get track four on Swift. Okay. And a number two, this could definitely have been number one, but it changed at the last minute. The number one album just kept coming back to it more. So number two is Arab Strap. I'm totally fine with it. Don't give a fuck anymore.
Yes.
Cannot be more Scottish than fucking Arab Strap. You could not be a band from another country and try to replicate this and it sounds as Scottish as it does. It's fucking droll.
Hang on,
It's
did I recommend this band to you? I feel like I recommended this band to you on the podcast.
no,
No, we're not having that?
no. So we had that conversation a while back and I was talking about Arab Strap and I'd said to you, is that no something that would work with Art Tangent? You're like, oh, well, funny enough, it might actually just work for Art Tangent. I'm a bit like, mate, I don't know who you booked this year, but if you've got Arab Strap there, I'm going to be so fucking happy because I get into Arab Strap way late on. So they were a band, they had the hits for the weekend or whatever it was, and everyone knew them. And then they took a 16-year break. They came back and released that absolute fucking masterpiece a couple of years back. And then I
Yeah.
get them. The last time I ever wrote a live review of anything was an Arab Strap show in a Spiegel tent in a Paisley bridge. So I went to see them when it was all stripped back, just as maybe the end of the, or certainly when we're doing some social distancing in this weird spot in this tent. So that'll be sitting there on the Daily Record somewhere in the last review of a band live review I ever wrote. And then this album dropped, and it was weird because when I went back to it in the last couple of months, I thought it was the album before because I knew every track so well. And I don't remember. I think when this was released, whenever it was released this year, I must have been in it quite heavily for a period of time. Then kind of forgot about it, went back and thought, shit, I've missed that Arab Strap album. Went back in, I'm like, fuck, I know all these tunes, like absolute bangers. It's just, it's how if Mogwai had vocals, this is what the vocals would sound like. It's fucking square sausage and iron brew. The guy is as I said, droll Scottish fucking poet that happens to have music behind him, and his storytelling is magnificent. But when I say Scottish like that, dark, biting sense of humour that we have, even if it's about us, it sometimes comes across as cruel when we even say it. But like at one point calls it like a stinking fat mess or something. It's just the fucking most Scottish terms that he uses along with it, and the way that he boils everything down. Most of the album's content is about how we've changed as an internet society and the discourse now, and how it's just everyone shouting the loudest and not really having the time for others, and we've lost that fucking human touch. Now, but the opening track. There's a bit that caught me instantly. Like he's talking about the difficulties of being online and fanboys with music, and well, Nazis and rapists sell merch, and that's like close to our hearts in the sense of your pop punk bands that have been accused of sexually assaulting a kid, or your black metal band who's fucking get a swastika in their chest. But then to keep it interesting, rather than saying no, this is the only view that I've got. He says they really, really want you to hate Disney, and that's him going with that whole when you go so far left that you're like, oh, if you've watched fucking Moana, you're a racist as well because Disney had connections to fucking whoever, and then you go next thing you know, can't be a Hugo Boss because he's connection to the Nazis, and Chris Hemsworth is a model for them, so you can't watch the Avengers and how ridiculous it can go in the other direction, and that's kind of where Arab Strap. They're never just this is a flag in the stand, and we don't have another opinion on this, and he does it across. There's dance in there. There's rock in there, soft rock in there. There's a track. This is again with the almost biting sarcasm. There's a track called "Safe and Well." Well, it's a folk track, but it's about an old or a woman dying at the start of the pandemic and being left to rot in her fucking chair over the course of 2 years or however long it is, and not being found. And the text message, the last text message, being "I hope you're safe and well." And it's done in the like. It could literally be you could be singing about a fucking Spartan battle or a beautiful Irish field with some folk musician. It comes across that, and you've got this absolutely bleak, horrible lyrics, and he's doing it. And he's not even trying to be, like crippling alcoholism, where it's quite gentle in your ears, or with Meryl Streep, where it's screaming in your ears. He's just reciting it like poetry. He's not. It's almost done in a fuck you, take what you want for it tone, rather than this is what I want you to get for it. That's how I want you to feel. It's like I don't really give a fuck how you feel, and I suppose that sums up the album. I mean, it's a text message thing. I'm totally fine with it. Thumbs up. Don't give a fuck anymore. Thumbs up. And it's fucking class. I think it probably will end up being the more and more I listen to it, and with the test of time, it probably will be my favorite record for this album for this year. But right now, it sits at number two.
Great. I did not see that coming. That's fucking brilliant. I love that band. Really enjoyed that album. Weird we haven't crossed over once yet in our top 10. Um,
Is it
okay.
though? Is it?
My number two is the self-titled record by Eshawn. Look, this is utterly brilliant throughout. I mean, there is not one weak moment or even a note of filler on this album. It's like not a minute of music has been wasted. Every riff, every melody is just like perfection. It's kind of like it's cheesy black perfection, but it's perfection all the same. Look, this is the sort of album that if you've got it on with your window open and your neighbor walks past, you close your window because you're almost a bit embarrassed to be listening to it because it's so fucking over the top and so ridiculous. So Eshawn, for people who don't know, he's the front man of the black metal legends emperor, one of the legends of black metal. He he's got a very deep solo career now that's been going for I don't know 20 odd years. He he mostly explores prog rather than really. He's not really a black metal musician nowadays. He explores prog, but this has gone. He's gone back, and he's mixed the black metal with the prog, and it is his heaviest album for a long time, I think. It's also his best album for a long time. It's my favorite album of his. There is the whole thing has got this fucking huge orchestra on it, pretty bonkers. But I only just found out that the orchestra isn't a real orchestra, it's sampled, but it's you listen to this and tell me it's a sampled orchestra. It just can't be. Um, it seamlessly fits with the heavy stuff. The orchestral parts are so integral to the album that there is actually a second album which has taken off all the heavy and is basically just drums, vocals, and orchestra, which is a curio. It's not what I've put as my number two, but it's an interesting curio. But look, this is fucking ridiculous. This album, it sounds like it's like the Lord of the Rings soundtrack in places, and you might not consider that to be a compliment. Like if Game of Thrones did black metal,
Man,
this is what it would sound like.
your virginity knows no depths, by the way. It's like, I know that sounds really geeky, but here's how I can make it sound geekier.
Well, look, I said at the start it's cheesy as fuck. I've closed my windows and I'm at home listening to it on my own. I absolutely love this. It's so great. It's fucking brutally heavy. It's brutally progressive. There's songs on it. There's stuff you can sing. He's got his sung vocals and his black raspy that could only be him, the sort of Eshawn rasp. Um, yeah, it's it's so fucking over the top and just mad. And he's clearly having a quite wonderful time. He's very serious and po-faced, I always think.
Yeah.
I was too scared to speak to him when he was at Arctangent because he always just seems serious. But the guy who makes this album can't be serious. This is just like this is so fun in a way.
He's having the best time. He's having the
Yeah,
best
yeah,
time.
he really is. So
I've met him
yeah,
before. He was very pleasant. He wasn't telling me jokes or anything, but he certainly was. He was very pleasant.
good. Yeah, that's my number two.
Okay,
That's
okay.
not one. Just to be clear, that's not one of the ones where I'm saying everyone should check it out.
Aye,
If you like that sort of thing, here's your album of the year
very
coming. Get on it.
specific to your. Aye, very
Yeah.
specific. But I still, Liz, I now see this entire podcast and premise this podcast is non-stop studying. So I will delve in. My album of 2024 surprises me more than it surprises anyone. I didn't really care that much about this band 8, 9 months ago. And when I listened to the album at first, I thought it was good and then never really done much with it. And then about a month ago, I dived back in. I said it'd probably make the top 10, and I thought it'd probably make the top five. And then the next one, it was top three. And by the start of this week, it was my number one album because just the more and more I fucking hear it and see it and everything about it, I fucking love. And it's knocked loose. You won't go before you're supposed to. There is nothing I don't like about this 27 minutes of being battered about with a fucking Bible. I'm not even the biggest hardcore fan in the world, but I get the I get the feeling that there was a record executive's office somewhere and they sat the guys down and said, "We've now got the master plan. We have turnstiles. Go on. All you guys need to do. You're next in line. The throne's there. Let's go and get the big bucks. Go to mainstream. Make us your version of Go On." And they've went, "Aye, okay." And then they've showed up with fucking "You won't go before you're supposed to," which couldn't be more abrasive if it fucking tried, and less Go On if it fucking tried. It's non-stop carnage. The opening track first, it starts. It's even awkward the way it starts. It's like there's a wee creepy jigsaw cunt, like in an abandoned avatar, like in a wee bike, making a squeaky noise, and you're kind of like, you're trying to tune in to see what was happening there, and it just fucking buses like these fucking cow carcasses come through the roof and just crush you. And every time, you know how many times that's caught me out when I've turned up in the car, and then it fucking starts. I'm surprised it's not caused more crashes for people to listen to it. It's that whole it's like 90 seconds statement of intent like fuck turnstile, Glow On and everything about you. We'll get to Jimmy Kimmel and do pig squeals in our own way. And that's exactly what I've done. And there's something about the aesthetic, the the religion, the Holy Cross being lit up in the field, and then the way blind and faith when you get through it, like you never quite put your finger on, are they in? Is this religious? Or is it not? Is it their take in religion? And it's never clear. I've read a lot of interviews now, and they're never really that clear on it either, which adds another level to the aesthetics. Fucking very clever. The way they present it's very clever. It's abrasive as fuck. I mean, they've went and borrowed fucking beer kegs for Slipknot to do the drums. Everything just sounds like a fucking baseball bat's getting bashed off the keg. At some points, it sounds like there's kids playing fucking football against the shop shutters, and it's just so metallic and it never really backs down. There's really, rather than just being heavy, because so many hardcore albums are just heavy, but there's wee points of difference when they come in that, like bringing Poppy in for a tune is a touch of class. Then there's wee sort of almost like movie samples or samples you'd expect to get in a horror thing, but instead of pulling the fucking shower curtain back and seeing some damsel in distress, it's like Brian Garris with a fucking North Face jacket ready to stab you. It's just, it keeps going, and you're like, you get 20 minutes in, like, my God, this is fucking great, but I could do like a right good warm hug now and tell my wife I love her. Blinding Faith starts. And it's just like a fucking warning siren happening in the background, and it just goes again. It's like strap yourself in, son. We're not done. And then that goes, and he's got a bit in it. He goes, "Bend your knee, child of God, pig squeal," and it just wraps up the entire fucking like the whole album within 3 seconds could be captured that bit. That whole is this Christian rock? Are we talking about this? Is it? And then the pig squeal and how heavy it's been. Just it's fucking very well polished but abrasive at the same time. The best example of a hardcore album, if they're still referring to themselves, or hardcore fans are still referring to themselves as a hardcore band, and I fucking love it. If this is what I mean, even the title, "You Won't Go Before You're Supposed to," is clever in itself. Like, so you start on the premise of reminding you you're going to die. So there you go. That's a bit fucking bleak to start with. You don't need a daily reminder of that, and you won't go before supposed to by who? By whose terms? Is this back to the religion thing or how you feel about it? Is like the question. There should be a fucking question mark at the end of that, and it just the whole album, the whole 27 minutes yet. It just feels like there's lots of bits to probe in that for a hardcore album. There's just not a lot of that going about. You feel like you're getting when you get your hatebreed or you get your whatever that you're very much. I will be heard. Fucking stand up for your rights. Let's go and get a knife and batter somebody. And with these guys, it's just it's much more nuanced than that. And I just every time I listen to it, I want to go back again. I want to go back. I think if this album had been 50 minutes, it would have been number seven in the list. I don't think there's 50 minutes of this in you. I think 27 minutes is where you go. So if this is what Christian rock or Christian metal sounds like 2024, praise be, I'm in.
Wow.
Weren't expecting that, son.
No, I wasn't. Fair play. Fair fucking play.
I've never even like I've ever mentioned Noctilus before.
No.
I'm surprised.
Yeah, I mean it's brilliant album. It's just not quite in my wheelhouse of what I listen to. But yeah. Cracking. Okay, well, my number one, you don't need to be a genius to know, is Absolute Everywhere by fucking Blood Incantation.
Fucking hell, really?
Um, most of your time as a music fan is spent going back at shit you've missed and being like, oh, yeah, who's Nirvana? What's this Nevermind thing I keep hearing about? Let's go and listen to that. And you're going back and listening to stuff. And sometimes, like in 1994, when I remember the day I bought the Holy Bible by Manic Street Preachers, sometimes you buy an album on the day it's released, and it's such an important album that everyone will be banging on about it for fucking, 30 or 40 years, and you'll remember where you were when you got into it. And look, this came out in October, so I realize this is big balls talk to say, but this is an album that is going to be like that. This is this is potentially a once in a generation album. This is Ghost Reveries. This is Master of Puppets. Is OK Computer. I mean, is it really that good? Do you think I even know the answer to that? Of course I don't. The adrenaline I feel when I listen to it, I want to cry at how good it is. It's so fucking amazing. It's like the best thing I've heard forever. And I'm so excited that I get to be that music fan that is like into it in it on its, I listened to the album the day it came out, and that's exciting for a music fan. I mean, look, and I'm not like out on a limb here, am I? It was Metal Hammer's album of the year. It was in most of the That's Not Metal guys' top 10. It was at least one of their number ones. It's in the top 10 of Kerrang's album of the year. Knock Loose was number one in the Kerrang, by the way.
Oh, there you go. So I'm the crank
You're the
guy.
Kerrang guy. Um, and everyone who's into heavy music knows this is great. I think. Look, and just for those that haven't listened to it, I'm just going to describe what it sounds like. Um, look at their core, they're a death metal band basically, but they have gone mega prog on this. There is shit tons of 70s prog. So first of all, get go and grab your dad and be like, Dad, you like Yes and Pink Floyd? Well, I've got a fucking album for you here. Now it's got about 2 minutes at the start, which is ear-splittingly heavy and is going to put everyone off. Then it goes on this like Pink Floyd Odyssey, and it's like the best Pink Floyd section that Pink Floyd never did. It's like it's not like some shit rip-off of Pink Floyd. It's like they've written a new Pink Floyd song. It's so good. So there's like there's death metal, there's psychedelia, there's 70s prog. I hear a load of commercial metal in there as well, like the best Megadeth album is Rust in Peace by a mile. There's Rust in Peace style riffs all over this. Like all the best death metal bands have, I think. And and it isn't like a lot of, I think I would like this album if it was like a cut and paste job and they were jumping around all over the place. But it isn't like that. It just flows like seamlessly. There's two songs. It's something like 43 minutes long. Um, these songs go on a proper fucking up and down journey through all these different styles. But when the music changes, it feels like it was meant to change. Each section is memorable in its own right. And once you get into it, you're like, it's like you're in the fucking matrix once you're into it because you're like, my God, I can like hum this whole album now. But when I first listened to this, it was like impenetrable. And fucking hell, man, this is just ridiculously good. It's like too good. We're definitely talking about this album. And we're definitely talking about this album for years and years to come. And what's exciting is that it's hit. Some of these songs have had more than 1 million plays. That is bonkers. Absolutely crackers. Name me a band this extreme and weird that has had more than 1 million plays on a song, and I'll tell you, no, they haven't. Um, if you compare them to probably all the bands I've just listed, apart from Opeth in my top 10, they just do not. This is breaking through commercially as well. It's not just like a fucking arty bullshit, fucking look at us, aren't we cool, stroking our beards thing. People seriously fucking love this album. Everyone listening to this should listen to this album once just to hear what's going on. And I think there's some people out there who are like Radiohead fans or fans of the National that don't like this sort of music, or Pink Floyd fans that are going to be like, "Whoa, this band have opened my mind to something new." Um, if you can't tell, I'm pretty excited about this album, and it would have been my number one album of the year in most of the previous years of the last 10 as well. It's that good. So fucking
I'm
yes.
I'm in, mate. You've taught me. You're right. It's like you know what? Top tens are all opinion based, and it's your opinion. But there are sometimes right answers, and the consensus right answer is Blood Incantation for 2024. It is everywhere. If it's not the very top, it's always hanging about those top three. I'm actually looking forward to in 6 months' time when the t-shirt that says shove blood incantation up your arse it's on the back of the two promoters one point. At which point, when I'm a blood incantation fanboy, because I actually do quite like blood incantation, I thought the soundscape project was maybe a wee bit too passive for me. But I did enjoy the albums beforehand. Not massively. I'm not the biggest death metal fan in the world, and I get the feeling I probably am going to enjoy this record. So, aye, again, well, I understand it. It is a deserving top choice for yourself. I'm actually a wee bit upset that Kerrang! Put knocked loose. I guarantee you, like Kerrang! Have fucking Bring Me the Horizon in that in their
It
top
is.
10 as well,
Bring
won't
Me is number two, I think.
and
Um,
Linkin Park will feature. I'm like, how the fuck have I become the guy who's agreeing with the Linkin Park and fucking Bring Me the Horizon fans? But
no,
aye,
but Kerrang's a broad church, isn't it, nowadays? And so is 2000 Trees come to that. So it's like it's appealing to lots of different people, Kerrang is. But yeah, people love that Knock Loose record too. Yeah.
what I'm doing from this, James. So I swear I need to go get children from school that now anyway. So I'm going to give a quick shout out to the sponsor, Meliora. You know the drill by now, guys. The people that are listening that have got festivals, who need a festival app, who want to look as slick and smart as damnation, then Meliora.events is the place for you to go and check. At least go get a quote, see what Darren and the team can do for you for your festival. Um, what else? Let's not do an on the record today, James, because we've just done 20 of them plus the EPs. So let's have that and finish on the Kofi. This is now going somewhere. It's working. People's subscriptions don't appear to be getting cancelled, other than poor Tina from Norway, who has just been told that it's not working with whatever the fucking is supposed going on in Norway. Tina, if you can subscribe each month or pay something each month, great. If you can't, do not worry yourself about it. Tim Stables, my friend Tim Stables, was picked last week. He fancies a Damnation 2025 beanie to keep up with his collection of for 2023 and 2024. More than happy to do that for you, Tim. We do also need to still sort out that gift for someone who got picked a while back. Something was going to get sent out from Kev at the factory. So let's get that addressed in. We'll be bang up to speed with everything for Kofi and Uncle Retrospective. There you go. His email calls him Kenneth White. Uncle Retrospective is the one to be picked up for this week. Our next episode will be episode 52, the final frontier. We are going to have a few drinks. It's going to be recorded on Saturday. Talking about the Kofi. If you want to message questions directed into the Kofi, I'll pick them up. We'll put a plan together. Subs only for this one. We want to make a bit of a party, end of year. have a bit of fun. You want to make them nice and personal? We can go personal. You want to make them funny? Make them funny. Anything that's going to be with a festive feel, then we are happy to sit down, have a few drinks, and a chat one. This one was a stressful one, so please, let's keep it jovial, and we will take it for there. Any final words, James?
Mate, you brought the big fucking journalist guns out there. That was good.
For
Really
what?
fucking good. I was well impressed with your top 10. Yeah, I
Uh,
think everyone will agree with me. You could see the fucking Gav, the journalism. Oh right, fucking hell. Gav's a journalist. That was good.
I,
I thought
I,
your descriptions were excellent. So we will definitely be doing this again next year.
Oh, that final point. If you did not enjoy this, and that is a valid excuse, I'm not praying for you to tell us you didn't enjoy it. But if you didn't, let James know, okay? Because he's clearly not going to listen to me. I appreciate the kind word, James. I found it very difficult because I've got notes about like kneecap being like your first experience of Ramstein's Mutter, and I never ever got to them because I couldn't fucking look at what I'd written. So I appreciate the kind words, but to me, it felt like it was fucking all over the gaff. Aye, I'm looking forward to getting about it. Enjoyable episode, nonetheless. Give us your feedback, guys. I am all up for a pile on. Tell me how fucking in tune James is and how crang I am, and we will go from there. All right, big man.
Thanks, mate.
See you Saturday with a few drinks and I'll have my Christmas jumper on. We will
Done.
party.
Yes, mate. I'm
Bye
in.
bye.